And good morning and welcome to Touch Base Daily. My name is Ron Foster and I'm here touching base with you every day, Monday through Fridays and sometimes Saturdays, but mostly on Instagram on Saturdays. We'll see how we can work it out on Saturdays with StreamYard and YouTube. But good morning. It is Touch Base Daily and it is Tip Tuesday. Today is Tip Tuesday. And you know what we do on Tip Tuesday? You know what we do on Tip Tuesday? We talk about tips on photography. And today we're talking how to capture cityscape observation deck photos. How to capture cityscape observation deck photos. That's what we're talking about today. But until then, it's just Tip Tuesday. It's Tip Tuesday, and there's a lot of headlines in the news, and we'll talk about those as well because we always start off with some headlines, and then we go right into the lesson. So let's say hello to some folks. Let's say, Daya. Daya, you want to believe I was thinking of you this morning, and I need you to call me sometime today. Please call me sometime today. I have a proposition for you. Chrissy is in the building. Chrissy is in the building. Good morning, Chrissy. Good morning, Hannah. Look, Hannah is here on. She now knows to come to Touch Base Daily on YouTube. Yes, if you are on Instagram, you must. You must. I am commanding you to come over to YouTube. That's where we live. You get a better experience. We get a better experience on this broadcast channel. Yeah, everything is cleaner, crisp. It's large. You can put it on your TV. You could put it on your laptop. You could put it on your phone. You could work while you're looking at it. Not like on Instagram. Instagram, you are stuck to the screen, and it is a little smaller on Instagram. But anyway, Jesus is in Instagram. Come on over to YouTube, Mr. Jesus. Mr. Jesus, Black Man 23. Come on over. It is nice to see you here in the Instagram world, but come on over to YouTube. That's where we live. That's where we live. Derek is in the building. Derek, Mr. T. Tuggle is in the building. Good morning, Mr. T. And let me, pop that off there. Oh, there he is. There he is. He made it. Jesus, Mr. Blackman is in the building. Welcome, welcome, welcome. He's crossed over. That's right. That's right. That's right. Okay, guys. So, first of all, for all the sports lovers in the building, since now I know that my community, hey, thank you for subscribing, Jesus. Thank you. Since we all know now that this audience is full of sports fans, I'm gonna have to step my sport game up. I only look at sports just to like pass time, but now I need to step my sport game up so I can have conversation. Can't just do the minimal here. This community is not just like surface sports people. You guys are in it. You guys are in it. What's going on, Kimmy? Kimmy Kim is in the building, and I saw Lisa. I saw Lisa. There she is. Hi, Ron. Good morning, everyone. And she says, my good friend just won the national championship. Yes, and I want to say, oops, that's the wrong headline. There we go. UConn routes Purdue to win first back-to-back men's NCAA basketball title since 2007. Headlines from CNN. Yes, UConn. Oh my. Okay. So who are you guys rooting for? Who are you rooting for? I can teach you all you need to know. I know, son. You are a sports person. Which is interesting. Not, because he really loves sports. I think most of my family, most of the people in my family love sports. I happen to be the geek. So I was the geek. And even though Adrian is still a geek, because you can't, he's still a nerd, just like I am. But my cousins play football. One of my cousins played for Army football, and then my brother played for Jersey State College. That was his team that he played for. So there's been a lot of sports around, but I never played. The only thing I did was drum and bugle corps. I competed in what do you call it? Air Force ROTC-ish in aviation high school programs, honor guard, and all that stuff, competitions. German Bugle Corps, like I said, we would compete against other German Bugle Corps in the area and in parts of the country. That was a lot of fun. And I also did football and get. I think, son, I beat you a couple of times on these handball tournaments. I think I used to win all the time in the beginning. Yes, my son and I used to do father and son night on, I think it was Wednesdays, and we would play handball every Wednesday. But I also play handball for the neighborhood. Yeah, that's yeah. Handball is a sport. I want y'all to know handball is a sport. And at Aviation High School, we had a handball team. That's right. We had a handball team, and we would compete. So, so those that don't believe handball is not a sport, well, rubbish, as Dr. Tachi would say, rubbish. Oh, you meant drum and bugle corps. Drum and bugle corps was not a sport. Well, I beg to differ. You know, when you are marching out in the sun for hours. We would be marching straight lines in the burning sun for hours. You had to do your push-ups if you messed up. You had to, if you did something wrong, you had to do push-ups. You had to do all kinds of stuff to manage being on a band. Some people do bands, but this is drum and bugle corps. But the same thing. Same thing. It is. It's a sport. Because we compete. We compete when drum and bugle corps. Yes, we did. Yes, we did. So I would say we worked out, we trained. It's right. We marched in the sun in the summer months, up and down the field, up and down the block. Oh, Lisa, you went there. She go, is it at the Olympics? Well, not yet. Drum and bugle corps is not in the Olympics. That is true. But there are a lot of sports that are not played in the Olympics. As a matter of fact, there are some that just were added that are true sports. Huh? How many pickleball people are in the building? Any pickleball people? Any pickleball folks in the building? Um, is pickleball in the Olympics now? Did they just add that to the Olympics? I think. Pickleball. Pickleball. Okay, okay. So one headline down, one headline down. College basketball yesterday. I did not see the game. How many of you saw the game yesterday? While you guys were watching the game, what was I doing? I was out with the Olympics. I was out at the solar eclipse with the folks out at Bryant Park. And then also came home and did all these edits. Lisa says, but that's a sport. Yeah, pickleball is a sport, but it wasn't in the Olympics. I don't think it hasn't been added. Adrian, do you know? I know you know this kind of stuff. All my fact checkers out there, look it up on Google. Give me the Google machine. What does the Google machine say? Pickleball, I think, has been added. I think. Thank you, Lisa. Lisa said the solar pictures are great. I had a great time, and it was so funny because I could not remember where I put my glasses. yesterday. So yesterday I was hunting for my glasses. And I was like, "Oh, I know I put them here. I know I put them here." And then they were right where I thought, right there. I had 3 tries. And as it was time to get ready to leave the house, I said, "Ah, here you are." Even though they're older pairs, but I had them. And I should have and when I got home, I was like, I should have collected all the ones that people were throwing away so I can have it for the next one. But the next one, I'm going to actually get glasses, true glasses that you actually, they look just like this, but they're black. They're like really black. But it was really nice to see so many people out and about yesterday, um, connecting, having fun, laughing with strangers, talking. It was great. Oh, Brian says he used his welding helmet to watch the eclipse. Yes, I remember in 2017 there were people that had their welding helmets. I didn't see any welding helmets in Bryant Park yesterday. Bryant Park is a quite little more sophisticated than Times Square. So so Bryant Park had all of the folks from the office buildings that surround it. And also, Bryant Park has a beautiful green lawn that they made sure no one was getting on that lawn yesterday. And some folks tried to, and the security guard said, "Off the lawn, off the lawn." Okay, I got word in. Pickleball is not in the Olympics, but double dutch is. And do you think double dutch is a sport? Well, it is now. I'm just saying, some things take time to get in the sports arena to the top of the food chain. But the eclipse, back to the eclipse. Yesterday was also one of the most beautiful days to say, I mean, to experience, because so many people, there was such unity across the country, especially those that went to see or viewed or traveled to view or went to view and spent money to view the solar eclipse. And was it the totality, the line, the road or lines of totality, in the line of totality. Adrian had to remind me yesterday 'cause I got a little stumped yesterday. I was like, and and it's so funny because it was in my head, but I couldn't get it out. Totality. Never heard that term before until this this solar eclipse. How many of you saw the solar eclipse? Did any of you guys go out and see the solar eclipse? Eh, Derek says, I stayed in the house. I could see it get dark from my window. Really? Derek, where are you located? Derek, where are you located? I thought you always think you're on the West Coast. You're probably not on the West Coast. Or were you on the West Coast and you saw it slightly? Kimmy Kim. Yes. Daya says, I did. Went on the rooftop at work. Uh Lisa says several of the news correspondents did not use their glasses properly. I hope their eyes are okay. The sad thing about those, if your eyes are damaged, you don't know it until years later. Um, oh, Derek is in California, so I'm right. Okay, I always thought you're in California. I said, Derek, I think Derek is in California. So you did get to see the light go, it got dark. And in New York City, it did get dark. It got dark, but it not like that, not like what happened up in Burlington, Vermont. Where else is I think Burlington, well, Syracuse was cloudy. Um, Niagara Falls, they did have some clouds, but they still got to see it. But Burlington, Vermont was the best place on the East Coast to catch it. And also places in Maine, because there were no, this is on what's called the line of totality, the eclipse line of totality. So it was really beautiful, but it was really nice seeing again. Like I said, we have not seen our country unified on anything recently in the last maybe a couple of decades now, where So many people from so many backgrounds. And for the first time yesterday, it did not matter if you were a Republican or a Democrat. Everybody was out enjoying the sun. The sun being overtaken by the moon. Derek says, I saw videos of Dallas. It looked like nighttime. Yes. Our wonderful Gwendolyn did a time lapse. And so she did a time lapse yesterday, posted that on her page. So check that out. Her time lapse is also on YouTube. I do believe it's on the YouTube channel, on her YouTube channel, on GR Houston Jack. Check out her time lapse of yesterday in Houston. Sorry, not Houston, Dallas. Dallas, Texas. Dallas. My bad. Her name is Houston. Dallas, Texas. 4 minutes yesterday. Yes, it was that, 4 minutes is a good while. 4 minutes is some good timing. The entire world was of one was on one accord. Not the whole world, but New York Americans. Because again, that eclipse only happened over the American territories, well, to say Mexico first, then over the Americans. And so you can say the Americas, because it went from Mexico, North America. It went to also I do believe you might have been able to see it in South America. Nope, nope, nope. Forget it. Nope, because South America is east of us. So yeah, most people think it's below us, but it's not. But Mexico, North America, and Canada were all in on the eclipse. It was great. Hey, Amparo's in the building. She says, "Happy Grand Rising." Dr. Tachi's in the building. Hey, y'all. Hey, Hannah. She says, yes. So what else is in the news? What's in the headlines that you guys need to know about? Also, just so you just put on your radar, this in the news. Body cam footage shows Akron police shooting of teen determined to be holding a fake gun. Put that in your what do you call it? Pin that to your headlines that you may want to follow and look at. That what the problem with this police officer is that he was also had problems before, and he was dismissed from another police department, and was taken by another police department, and then caused another incident. So again, when police officers do bad, they should be off the force and off all forces. If you kill someone, if you hurt someone, none of us could go back to doing our professions if we did that. So anyway, just keep that on your radar in Akron, that story. Also, this was kind of humorous. Trump attacks Lindsey Graham during social media back and forth. For those that don't know, Trump came out yesterday with this big giant hoopla of that he is not against. Oh, sorry, that he is not going to. He's not for a cross the country ban of abortion, which we know is a lie. The man lies every time. So the man is just saying what he needs to do to garnish votes. But Lindsey Graham was like, no, 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 no. We want a ban across the country with a bunch of other Republicans. We want a ban. And so they were a little at odds, but it goes to show you there is no allegiance. There is no allegiance to the orange man. Hey, Aya is in the building. Let's see here. Who else is here? Vote chaser. Exactly. He's just chasing votes. The NASA rockets during what's that? Amparo? The NASA rockets during eclipse. Did I miss that? What's that go? What's going on there? Anthony, good morning. Mr. Anthony Rowland is in the building. We're gonna have Anthony on. He doesn't know it yet. Now he knows. Anthony is going to share some of his photography skills with us. Speaking of Anthony, we also are going to have tomorrow as our special guest. We're going to have Madhavan, who was up in, I think he went to Maine yesterday to photograph the eclipse. Now, let me see if I can bring up his one of his photos. He will be with us tomorrow, and he's going to give us some conversation on the subject. And he's been on our platform before, but now he's going to be here with us on now that we're on Touch Base Daily on YouTube. So now people can find him when he's on, because this guy, this he is my colleague. He is such a blessing to me. Um, for those that don't know, I have what's called RLP Urban Photographers Meetup, and we meet every fourth Saturday of the month from 2 to 4 o'clock in different locations around Manhattan, New York City. And Madhavan has become such a partner in making sure in our community that he's educating the community, helping the community, connecting with the community. And so let me just take you to one of his photos. The photo he shared with us yesterday, I should say this morning, of his taking yesterday's photo at the eclipse. And here we go. Let me cue that up for you guys. Let me tell you, this is beautiful. Look at that. Isn't that perfection? Madhavan is the man. If you want to see photos by Madhavan, is KP Images. Like I said, an incredible photographer. He's going to be sharing some of his stories tomorrow, his journey. Let me just get this Trump thing off the line here. Let me pop that off of here. But back to the Eclipse. And he's going to share some stories because his original plan was to go to Dallas. And then he had to change plans because the forecast was off. And then he had to plan another place. They had to change that. Then he changed another place. And then he finally got it together. He had to change hotels, change airplanes, and all the other stuff just to get these photos. And I cannot wait to see his whole collection. Madhavan is an incredible, like I said, an amazing photographer. And so you'll check out his work and his conversation with us tomorrow in our community, in our Wisdom Wednesday. Wisdom Wednesday is tomorrow, and he'll be sharing some of his wisdom. I'm so excited about Madhavan doing that with us tomorrow. Also, let's see here. Oh yeah, Kimmy. Yes, I mean, isn't that incredible? Oh, here's Empire. She finishes. I thought news: NASA sent up rockets to see what happens with solar disruptions during the eclipse. Yes, NASA does whenever there's an eclipse, especially the one. Well, we have one here in over the American continent. A lot of times they can't do it over any other place. They were able to really survey what happens during an eclipse. As a matter of fact, some of the birds and wildlife lost their orientation for a moment because of the eclipse yesterday. So, yeah, it does have an effect on us. Uh, how it affects us, we don't know yet. We just know some things. Some people talk about astrology, how it affects us, but there's no proof there. And for those that believe in astrology, um, they say it has an effect on us. But as in physically, the what do you say? The verdict is still out on does it affect us. However, in most ancient cultures, during the eclipse, most people take shelter. In most cultures, most indigenous cultures, they take shelter. They quiet, they go away, they take that moment. It's like a moment of reverence. So you'll find different customs around the world, especially among the indigenous community, how what they did during the eclipse or during eclipse. Um, Anthony says the birds and the dogs in my neighborhood were riled up. Yeah, the birds in not in Bryant Park, they began to fly around, but that was about it. Nothing major. They just kind of like lost their bearings. They didn't hit into any trees, or anything. They just were like, "What's going on? It's getting dark." Yeah. So anyway, I hope everyone enjoyed the eclipse across America. It truly was a moment of unity. And I'll be posting more photos on Instagram, so check those out. I'll do part two today. I did part one yesterday, last night. So if you haven't seen those, you can go to the Instagram account. Let me just pop this up and I'll share that real quickly. And let's see here for yeah, it's getting a lot of love over there on Instagram. This is again, let me share that a little bit. This is from Instagram, and a couple of slides, and just a slide presentation. But there were a lot of people out there. Yeah. Okay, so check that out on Instagram if you want to see the photos of the people. Okay, what else? Want any more headlines? Do I have any more headlines? Let me remove that. Headlines. Let's see. I think we got them all. Oh, did I forget to say? Student loan debt relief for a potential 30 million more Americans. I have friends that have had their student loans erased, and they swear by how it changed their lives. Totally changed their lives. So for those that, again, he may be old, but he's still working for young folks. Young folks need to wake up. Some folks, I mean, not even just young folks. These are people that are professors in colleges right now, and are in medicine or education, and got their education, still trying to pay off their loans. These are not students. These are people that have been students before. One of my buddies, he got, I think, 10,000, or was it 20,000? $20,000 taken off. He vanished in debt. 20,000. He's in this community. Amazing. 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 Um, what's that, buddy? I got a local headline. That is a part of our national conversation. Send it to me. Yeah. What's Ezekiel 32:7-8? Someone refresh that Bible verse to me. Ezekiel 32:7-8. That's what Lisa's saying. Lisa, you can't just give Ezekiel 32:7-8. You have to, like, put the verse in your chat. Tuition is so high. Who going to be able to go? Did you hear the latest about tuition in America? Has hit a new record high of $95,000 a year. Who can afford $95,000 a year? Oh, yes, Lisa. Lisa's brother is 52 and got nearly $100,000 cleared. Could you imagine being in debt, student loan debt of $100,000 and having it erased? How awesome is that? Yo, that is awesome. Whoa. I when Lisa told me that, I was like, you got to be kidding me. Let me just put that back up there. $100,000 gone of debt. Could you imagine? I mean, I would have passed out. I literally would have passed out. Look, I would have passed out for my $20,000 debt. Well, was it? I think my student loans was 20,000, maybe altogether. Yeah, and it was gone, and I finally paid it off. It was literally a mortgage. It took me 30 years to pay off my college loan. Look at that, and that was 20,000. Could you imagine $100,000 loan? How long it takes to pay off something like that? Holy moly. Brian, I hope you get relief. Brian says his debt is 250,000. Whew, it costs a fortune. But think about the students today. The new record high is $95,000 a year. I do believe that is a school in Boston. I can't remember which school it is. One of those schools in Boston. $95,000 right now. Lisa said he's voting for Biden no matter what because of it. Shoot, man. Yeah. Ken Kimmy says interest on student loans kill you, especially if you got those variable ones back in the day. When the interest rates went up, your loan went up. Oh, yeah. Look at that. I see those happiness. Okay, we reached the half mark. Got to go into lesson time. It's time for Touch Base Daily. Tip Tuesday. It's time. It's time. So we're going to talk about how to capture cityscape observation deck photos. So important, especially if you live in a city like we do here in New York City. Um, I love taking photos at our observation decks, and we have lots of them in New York. Well, we have several. We have the Empire State Building. We have the World Trade Center One, or the World Observation, or what are we gonna call it? The World Observation Deck. We have also the Vanderbilt Summit, or it's just called the Summit. And we have also on top of the rock, which is beautiful. It is not the tallest, but it is one of the most beautiful places to photograph New York City from. On top of the rock is almost dead center of Manhattan. So you're in right in between downtown and uptown. And from on top of the rock, you can see on a clear day from most of these places, you can see Vermont, New Hampshire, Connecticut, upstate New York, Jersey, any other, and that's it. Yeah, those are the places you can see from those observation decks here in New York City. Yeah, it is one of the best places. But you say, okay, I go to the observation deck, I get my camera. How do I take pictures? How do I take pictures from a cityscape, photos from an observation deck here in New York? Or maybe it's the Sears Tower. Well, is it still called the Sears Tower any longer in Chicago? There are observation decks all over. I got lucky to photograph from the tallest, well, I don't know if it's still the tallest building in the world, the Caliph in Dubai. And so the same strategy applies whether you are in Dubai, you're in Barcelona, Madrid, you are in the observation deck. I forgot the name of the building in London, or you go to the observation deck in Boston. There are observation decks everywhere around the world, and um, the same rules will apply. So let's get to it. Photographing cityscapes from observation decks can be a thrilling experience, offering a unique perspective of the urban landscape. Here are some tips to help you capture stunning cityscape images. Let's start it. Number one, use a monopod or a mini pod tripod. Now, let's talk about that. Space can be limited on observation decks, and some don't allow full-size tripods. A mini tripod, like a Gorilla Pod, can be a great alternative. Be warned, I make sure to put this in here. Be warned, most observation decks don't allow tripods or monopods. of any kind, check before booking your visit. It used to be a time where you could use these guys. Like this is a monopod that you see in the pictures here, and gorilla pod. But this is the monopod traditionally you see. And people usually try to use these when you go to the observation decks. But after 9/11 and after also some incidents, tripods, I should say monopods and tripods, not only do they are take up well, the tripods, they banned tripods because tripods took up space. You know, you have to put the legs out and people would fall and trip over them. And people say, wait a minute, we don't want to be sued for your tripod. So they stopped using tripods. So then people started using monopods, the monopods, just like this one here, just one stick, little legs on the bottom. And later on, thanks to some bad players in the world, there were some incidents that people used them as weapons. So guess what? Most observation decks today, most of them, some still use monopod. Some will still allow you to use a monopod, but most will not have tripods today. But again, this is across. This is not. This I'm talking about here in New York. It could be. You know, you could go to different places around the world. They still use tripods. They still use monopods. So check with your building observation deck if they still allow them. But yeah, but they're really great because they offer stability. Number two, wipe the glass window. Usually, observation decks are indoors or outdoors. For instance, at the Empire State Building, the on top of the rock, excuse me, they have indoor and outdoor observation decks. The Edge has an outdoor observation deck here in New York City, but has a glass window that on its perimeter. So, what happens when you got glass windows? All the people that are in are putting their hands and fingers on the windows to see outside. Some people lean against the glass windows. Kids like to put their hands on the glass windows. Teenagers, everyone. It's just, yeah. So, what should you have with you at all times? I always carry with me, let me bring mine over, one of these guys. This is pretty big too, right? It's called a microfiber cloth. I always carry this with me, and also a little, I always have cleaner in my bag, like a little sprayer for my lenses anyway. And you take that, you can put that on the window, and then you can wipe where you are with this little guy. This towel is a lifesaver. I use it for everything. For instance, when I was in Iceland, we were in a rainstorm and I wanted to take landscape photos, but it was pouring it was pouring. The rain was coming down. So guess what I did? I covered my camera with this little baby. I had two of them, and I was able to photograph without the camera getting soaked. And then I was able to take the other one and wipe it down. There's nothing like a microfiber cloth to wipe your camera down, especially after it rains. So wipe the glass window, take care of that area. You set up your area, you get into that little area, wipe it down, and you'll get some clear pictures. Next, eliminate reflections. To avoid reflections, shoot as close to the glass as possible. Use a polarizing filter and consider using a lens skirt or a black neck gaiter to block out stray light. Now, this is a little trick of the trade. This is a little trick of the trade. Um, yeah. Have you ever seen where everyone uses, especially during COVID, everyone wore those black neck gaiters, you put them up, you put them on your head. You can literally put your lens in there and then put that against the window, like almost like around it against the window, and photograph. And that will keep your reflections away from the glass. Also, you can have these little devices. I have one here that I'm going to pull out. And these are like little lens skirts. And what you can do is you can pop this little baby out. Let me just, I really popped it out. But there you go. Oops, let me go the opposite direction. Sorry. And I can stick my lens in here, right? Like these go onto the lens. You can put this on the lens. And then you put this side onto the glass. And then your lens goes into this circle. And then you're able to move to the left or slightly to the right and take photos. And what it does, it takes away the reflections, because in most observation decks, like here in New York City, the observation deck at World Trade Center, One World Trade, the back lights are always reflecting onto the windows from the gift shop or from the restaurants, because most observation decks are on the perimeter of that floor, the top floor, or the next to the top floor. And usually in the center of the observation decks are usually obviously the elevators and all that stuff, but you also have the gift shops that are usually in the center of the observation deck. But when you have a gift shop, when you have a store, guess what you have? Lots of lighting. And usually that light reflects onto the glass. And when you take the photo, you go home and you say, oh man, look at the light. Look at that headlight. Look at the light coming from those spotlights from the gift shop. So these little guys are really good because you place them on the window, right? You put your lens, again, let me get in here, the lens in this little circle, and then it prevents the light from going onto the glass. You can get these on Amazon. Lens skirts, and also to prevent reflections when you are taking photos from an observation deck. Any of them around the world. Let me see it. Oh, if you got questions, make sure you put a Q before your questions so that way we can have them. I can address them at the end. BCY, is that from interested or added? Against forgiveness. Okay, that's another question there. Let me make sure I get the questions. Any questions? You know, people juice smears on, yeah, juice smears. How are the observation platforms in Amtrak? I'm gonna deal with that one after also. Okay, I think I got all the questions. Okay, cool. I got all of the questions. If you have any questions, put Q, then your question. So that way I know it's a question. Next. But did you know you could use your little black neck gaiters to help you solve your reflection problem? That was a good one. When I found that out, I was like, yeah, this is a good tip. Because guess what? Your neck gaiters are so lightweight. You can just fold those babies up, roll them up, and put them in your camera bag. So that was a good one. When I learned that tip, I was like, yeah, that's nice. So I hope that helps someone out there. You can use these also again with your smartphone. So if you have your smartphone, you can put your smartphone. You can take the picture like that and use the smartphone, put the smartphone up to it like this, and then take the picture like that. So yeah, you can use these with all your cameras. They help. But definitely with your smartphone and small cameras as well. Okay, next one. Shoot during the blue hour. Oh, you know what? I meant to get rid of this little thing here. Hold on a second. Let me get rid of the. Well, it's not in the way. Okay, it's not in the way. Shoot during the blue hour. Capture the cityscapes during the blue hour for soft, diffuse light and a balance between the natural and artificial lights of the city. This is my favorite thing. This really answers the question of what time should you go to an observation deck? What time of day should you go to an observation deck to photograph cityscapes? I like to say, try to go at least an hour before sunsets. Go an hour before the sun sets. Why? One is you'll get beautiful sunset photos from the observation deck. And you will also get these beautiful hues of orange on the cityscape. You'll get these beautiful colors of warm oranges and yellows across the cityscape, right? So you'll get that's one. So you're gonna kill two birds with one stone by getting there an hour or so before the sun sets. Why? Also because the sun is lower in the sky. So guess what? Less shadows. Less shadows. Especially if, I mean, you're shooting from the observation deck. So there are not going to be too many shadows for you, but there are less shadows if you want to take pictures of someone as well on the observation deck. But here's one. You're killing two birds with one stone. So you get the sunsets, the yellows, the oranges, but then you can stay longer after the sun goes below the horizon. What is that called? We talk about it all the time on this platform in this community. It's called the blue hour. The blue hour. And in the blue hour is the best time to photograph architecture. It's the best time to photograph architecture. If you look at some of the magazines, Architectural Digest, home design magazines, back in the old days, Metropolitan Magazine, and they did photos of the homes, they always photographed those homes in the blue hour. Outside of the window is the blue sky, and everything has a bluish cobalt blue tint. There's a reason, because incandescent light looks good against the sky of the blue hour. Need a drink there. There we go. Okay, so like this photo right here. You see this photo? You see how the river. Now you know the East River don't look this good during high noon. High noon, the water looks green. High noon, when the sun is on when the sun is dead on this water, it looks green because our water is little greenish here in the north, in the ocean too. But because the ocean or the waterways, the rivers, they reflect the sky. So when the sky becomes cobalt blue, when the sky is blue during the blue hour, the water appears to be blue. So shoot during blue hours. Okay. And also I'm going to throw you one more caveat there is that why is it that the incandescent light looks so good against the blue hours blue? It's because of its position on the color wheel. The color wheel. You know what I'm talking about? For we designers, like interior designers, fashion designers, architects, we all rely on something called the color wheel. Photographers also rely on the color wheel. I always challenge color photographers. I have my color wheel on my phone. I have a color wheel in my bag in my interior design bag. You know why? Because a color wheel will tell you what colors are in great contrast to each other that always makes things look good. For instance, blue is always in opposite contrast to orange or orange and blue. So those colors always work good together. They work good together. So, or pink and green, they work good together. They're on opposite sides of the color wheel. I can go do a whole color wheel lesson, but I won't do it today. But yeah, so that's the reason why the blue hour is so beautiful with the incandescent lights in the evening. Also, use leading lines. Incorporate elements like roads or bridges as leading lines to draw the viewer's eye into the composition. Like you see some roads here, some big roads here. Here's another road here, right? There's a road there. There's a road there. You got the horizon, which is kind of like blocking, calling it framing, and all kinds of stuff is going on with composition here. But yeah, use your leading lines. Again, we talk about that a lot in this community. You hear me talk about that over and over again. If you're in my Patreon community and you've been to our class, I talk about it there all the time too. Cameras use an algorithm for color if not shooting in RAW, says Trish. Okay. Next one, as we get to the keep your back to the sun. To minimize glare and ensure even lighting, keep the sun behind you when shooting cityscapes. For instance, the sun is setting on the west side of the building, then you probably should be on the south side, north side, or east side to photograph your cityscapes, right? Unless you are trying to get a particular look as the sun is setting, right? But after the sun sets and you're on the blue hour, then you can shoot from any angle, any direction. But always remember, if the sun is up, to minimize glare and ensure an even lighting on on your lens, because the lighting is going to be uneven on your windows from observation decks, or if you're out on a deck. So make sure the sun is behind you. Next. By following these tips, you will be well on your way to capturing breathtaking cityscape photos from observation decks. Happy shooting. Okay, guys? So just remember, these are great tips. These are also going to be located. This whole, again, as I always do, I always put in, let me just see here. Let me go back to that. Click, and clicking away. And you can find this. Let me just pop this up here. And this, I always put these articles in my Patreon community. So you can get the full, let me put that there in the Patreon community. It is how to capture cityscapes, observation decks, photos. You can get the continued. It goes in more depth, and then it has all the resources there, so you can also dive in if you want to do that. So if you are a Patreon member, go in, you'll be able to do that. So all the Patreon folks, you got that. That's going to be there for you. And this is for the paying Patreon members, meaning the people that support financially. So it's there. It's there for you guys. Okay. I see questions. Questions. I saw some questions. Let me pop in one. I see here. Amparo, Trish, there's an observation deck for Amtrak in New York. I don't remember if there's one. I see here. That's Trish. That answers Trish. How are the observation platforms on Amtrak. I don't think we have any observation decks on Amtrak in New York City. You might have them in other cities. I don't know. But in New York City, there are none. However, when you are looking down from the edge, you do you are above Hudson Yards. And so you get all of the beautiful trains lined up below from the Long Island Railroad on Hudson Yards. So that's the only place in New York City that you can observe tracks, like lots of trains and tracks together. You can go to some of the overpasses over in New York City, in Queens, Long Island City area, and you can see some of the Amtrak, not Amtrak, but some what do you call it? The cargo trains or the trains that bring in shipments. Okay. Another question. Do you use filters for sunsets? Yes, a nice polarizer will be good. Different types of polarizer. You can change the polarizer by changing, you can change that little ring around it and you can diffract the light. So, yes, I use a polarizer for sunsets. I like using polarizers when I'm traveling. One is because it protects the lens as well. It can always change that, but it's also great for landscape photography. Polarizers are great for landscapes and cityscapes. Here's another question. Do you manually adjust the color? I don't know what the color is. What is the color? You talking about the Kelvin? Are you talking about the Kelvin scale? Are you talking about white balance? When you say color, are you talking about the white balance? Please defined. Um, However, most of the time I use automatic white balance when I'm doing cityscapes. I let the camera do the work. I do set it for auto myself. Now there are other photographers because they may want to have more hues of orange or they may want to have more hues of blue. Well, let me go back. Let me go back. I have changed my white balance. I have in London. I changed my white balance because when I photographed the London Bridge, there was this beautiful blue, and I was like, oh my god, I wanted to enhance the blue, so I went there. Okay, cool. Any other questions? Because we got 1 minute, and I gotta get off of this thing. 1 minute, and I'm out. Because guess what? We have our Touch Base Daily that was being recorded, so it will be on repeat this evening on Indie Suit Media. So check that out, Indie Suit Media. I think we got them all. With the color, okay, got them all. I think we got them all the questions. I hope you guys enjoyed this Tip Tuesday. I hope that you have learned something that will help you in your photography. It helps me as I do those things. The announcements, we'll have announcements that'll be on the description. I'm not going to go into all the announcements for today. But guys, thank you for joining me on this wonderful Tip Tuesday, how to capture cityscapes observation deck photos. And that's it. I think that's it. I think we're done, y'all. I think we are done. So guys, reach